Yo, what up guys, this is your boy Legendary here, and today people, we're going to be doing another tier list video. I'm going to be reviewing all the rivals main aces. You guys already saw the rival video, you saw the main protagonist, you saw me talking about the main protagonist aces as well, and now you're going to see the main rivals aces as well. But yeah, so this is going to be a weird list. There's a lot of weird options that you guys can see here. But yeah, once again, this video will just be kind of uncut. I mean, there might be small cuts, but it's going to be mostly uncut. If I stutter over myself, I stutter over myself, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to have fun and like conversation. The last 3 tier list videos were so much fun. It was very popular. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. It was great. So yeah, I'm going to do this video now. So yeah, I'm really interested to talk about these. So like I said, I basically added all the aces of the rivals that were in the last video. Even the ones like Aster and stuff like that, because even though I don't consider them a rival, other people might, so I just added it just in case, and just so it's consistent. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna begin. So there's a lot of options here. There are some characters that had more than one ace monster, and I'll get into that, like Chaz, for example. So I'm gonna start off with this is a very difficult list to start off with. Wow. So let's start off with a lot of stuff is definitely going to move around, I feel. We'll see. We'll start with Galaxyeyes Photon Dragon. I think Galaxyeyes Photon Dragon is it's either high A tier or maybe S tier. I feel like Galaxyeyes Photon Dragon was just a really cool ace monster, strong effect. It had a really big role in the beginning, being an Xyz killer since he was a numbers hunter. This was a great counter against number monsters and just Xyz monsters in general. Has a very powerful effect, banishes both monsters, he comes back, and then he gains attack points equal to the overlay units and stuff. So it's a very cool, unique effect. The first time an effect like that was done, I think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And he was just cool. He got a lot of wins with Galaxyeyes, and then obviously we know Neo Galaxyeyes, Photon Dragon. He's amazing. And then Prime Photon, his evolutions were great. But yeah, so I think he's a solid A tier. I think whenever you think of Kaito, you automatically think of Galaxyeyes Photon Dragon. I wish there was more backstory as to how he got a hold of the Photon archetype. Because he did mention in the duel against Misael that he borrowed the power of the photons, or no, not the photons, but the galaxy monsters of Galaxyeyes, and that he basically called Misael the true Galaxyeyes user, and that he, even though technically Kaito has basically almost the entire Galaxyeyes deck, while Misael runs a dragon deck with just Galaxyeyes attacking on dragons. So I don't know how that statement is true, but whatever. The point is, Kaito said that he was borrowing the power of the Galaxyeyes, and he considers him, Misael, the true Galaxyeyes user or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, you can't separate Galaxyeyes from him. He got a lot of wins with Galaxyeyes. It's very iconic to Kaito. Obviously, you could say that about any of the main character rivals, but so some of them will explain why they end up being lower. But yeah, I think he's solid A tier for now. Definitely think he's one of the better ones for many reasons. Had a pretty good role in the show, being his Xyz killing machine. So it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Alright, so we're gonna move on here. And guys, I'm not judging this based on effects or how strong they were. Not necessarily that some of that might be in there, but really it's just like how important were they to the show and to the rival themselves, and how iconic is that ace monster to that rival, and how big of a role did it play, which is kind of hard to judge. How do you judge that? Like, not every character, not every monster is going to be written like so well, but it's kind of hard. It's very difficult, even more so than the main character's aces, I feel. But anyway, we're going to continue on. We'll do Plasma next. So for Plasma, I'll say, I don't know. Obviously very powerful effect. We already know that, but this isn't about powerful effects entirely. I think he could be B tier, he could be A tier. A tier. It depends. His role was pretty big in terms of he had no big role in the overall show. It was really more just personal for Aster's story. So for Aster's story, it was a solid ace monster that he was reaching for. And, it being connected to his father, the whole Destiny Hero deck being to his father. Then Plasma got not kidnapped. Plasma got taken, the card itself, and his dad got absorbed in it. And, it has a very great backstory, I feel, and everything. So I feel like it's a very good ace. I just don't feel like it played a big role in the show overall. It's just like Aster by himself. Like, as a character, it is very symbolic of him and everything that he went through. And I think it's a good, solid ace monster for that sense. Even though I don't really consider him the rival of GX, but whatever. I'll put him B tier. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. You could put it higher if you guys want. It's up to you. I don't mind. But I'm gonna stick with B tier for now. So, let's see. Next up we have, I'll do Jack Atlas. I'll do Red Dragon Archfiend or Red Demon's Dragon. So Red Demon's Dragon is cool. He doesn't have a very strong effect, but like I said, it's not about a strong effect. It's very symbolic. Obviously, you think of Red Dragon Archfiend, you think of Jack, you think of power, you think of Red Nova Dragon, or Scar Red Nova Dragon. You think of its evolutions and all that stuff. Obviously, you think of that stuff. But I just love the fact that Jack's literal entire deck revolves around summoning Red Dragon Archfiend. It is literally his ace. It's his very soul. He says it's in his chant. Like, it's his very soul, his very spirit himself. And he is very close to this card. I feel like he really loves this card. His whole deck is focused around summoning it and either protecting it or bringing it back. Not as much so as Arc V Jack. But we're not talking about him because he's not the rival of Arc 5, so he's not going to be on here. But yeah, I think he's solid. It could go either way between. I felt like Jack had a closer relationship with Red Dragon Archfiend than Kaito had with Galaxyeyes. But Galaxyeyes obviously was stronger, but like I said, it's not about being stronger. I don't know. I'll put him in high A tier for now, above Galaxyeyes, just because I feel like it's so iconic. It's even more iconic to Jack than Galaxyeyes is to Kaito, because for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons. It's his very soul. It's his ace. It's his go-to card no matter what. It represents his power and his domination. His effect is also very resemblant of him as a character. Just running over people in defense that are weak and stuff like that. Anyone who isn't attacking and trying to obtain victory gets automatically destroyed. So its effect also plays very well with kind of his philosophy, at least in season 1. So yeah, I think it could be interchangeable, guys. So these two could be interchangeable. You could switch it. It really doesn't matter to me which one. It's very hard. Like I said, very hard list to make. So I'll put them both A tier for now, and they could be interchangeable. So next up, we'll do Zane Tuesday. We'll do Cyber End Dragon. Okay. Alright, so I think I'll put B tier ace monsters that are good ace monsters for their character, but don't play a huge role in the show necessarily, like Plasma. And they're just iconic to their monsters. So like that would be like Zane, right? Like Zane would be, I would put Cyber End over Plasma, because I felt like Cyber End really represented Zane as a duelist. It's iconic. It's so iconic to Zane as an ace monster, just having that 4,000 attack point monster with the whole power bond combo going 4,000 attack. The fact that it has so much attack points, and on top of that it also pierces, so you can't even defend yourself against it either. I just think that's really cool. It just represents that power. He doesn't have a very overly busted effect like Plasma, I know that, but it's not really about that. I don't know, I just feel like Cyber End, and just everything he went through with that card too, even abandoning it and kind of like he ended up making Cyber Dark Dragon like his ace kind of sort of later, and he was just all over the place. But I feel like it's just so iconic to him. He just didn't play a really big role in the show personally, but whenever people in GX would see Cyber End Dragon or would mention Zane, they would bring up Cyber End Dragon, like his iconic card, his most powerful card, his kind of like his trusted monster, like even in his final death scene, he made sure to summon Cyber End Dragon at the very end, and protect it from dying, as well as powering up to 16,000 attack points. So I feel like for that reason, he's definitely more iconic than Plasma. Like personally to Zane, I know Cyber End to him means a lot, even though he did end up kind of betraying Cyber End later on. But then he kind of like ended up dying with Cyber End, his true ace. So I don't know, I just feel like he had a stronger presence. But like I said, in the overall show, I feel like he just doesn't, like he's amazing by himself, yeah, but I think A tier will be more for like A tier will be for rival ace monsters. Sorry for stuttering so much. Rival ace monsters that have a very big significance to the main character, but also play a bigger significance in the overall story. And that's why Red Dragon Archfiend is up there. Obviously, he's one of the signer dragons, one of the key signer dragons in there, the second in command even. So that makes perfect sense as to why he's in A tier, because he is important to the story as well, because of the Crimson Dragon and everything. And Kaito as well with the whole photons, the whole Galaxyeyes thing. Yeah, that's why I think Red Dragon Archfiend deserves to be above him, because Red Eyes... Oh, sorry, not Red Eyes. Is my bad. That's a slip. Red Dragon Archfiend, Red Demon's Dragon has a key role in the whole show. He's one of the signer dragons, and Jack is one of the signers. So that's why he deserves to be up there, because he's definitely more important than Galaxyeyes. But Galaxyeyes is still important, being the Xyz killer, and that's kind of the big purpose of the show in season 1. And whatnot. But yeah, so I think that's fair. Definitely, I think that goes above Plasma. You could argue it could go either way. That's fine. I'm okay with that. All right, we're gonna move forward. Let's get Akaba Reiji out of the way. So Akaba Reiji, I'll put him B tier. Here's why. Okay, so here's why. Armageddon was such a weird monster for me, because I felt like the entire show I was trying to figure out who his ace was, and in a way it was obvious, because obviously he had 3 of them, they all had 3,000 attack points, they all worked together, kind of like Kaiba's 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. So it seemed like it was obvious that was his ace. But the thing with Reiji is that whenever he dueled, he would constantly do something different each time, so you would never get that sense or feeling that this was specifically his ace, because he would always do something different every time. He would never rely on this one card to win the duel. So as an ace monster, it kind of fails, because he never uses it really. I mean, he used it in the first 2 duels, I think, against Yuya, or the first duel against Yuya, and then a couple random times. But like, it was never the main center focus of his strategy, like Red Dragon Archfiend or Galaxyeyes. Like, that was like the main center focus of their strategy, was to summon that monster and win with it. While Armageddon was not that. He used it that one time against Yuya, and maybe like 1 or 2 other times as an extension of other plays, but it wasn't like, it never felt like it was his ace. I always had a problem too with his design, because I felt like, I like the way it looked in the anime better, where the pendulum thing was like longer, because I felt like it looked more appealing than how it looks on the card, where it looks very short and stumpy and square, and it looks weird like that. It's not its best look, but it's not about design. I just feel like as his ace monster, it kind of fails, because I couldn't even tell it was his ace until the very end, when he was facing off against his father, and then Serena pointed out, oh look, it's Armageddon, his I think most trusted monster. They didn't call it his ace, but like his most trusted monster, or his most iconic, whatever they called it. And that's when I was like, okay, so that is his ace. But that was like all the way at the end of the show that we found out that that is indeed his ace. But like I said, in every single duel, he just did something different every time. He had so many powerful monsters that all had 3,000 attack points that it was so hard to tell which one was meant to be his ace. And he didn't win with this card specifically all the time. He had so much stronger cards too. You know, Kali Yuga, a bunch of other stuff, Siegfried, and just he had so much. His deck was so busted and broken that he didn't need to rely on one ace. So that's kind of the cool thing about him is like unlike Kaito and unlike Jack, they need to rely on their ace to win most of the time, especially Jack. But Reiji didn't, because his deck, the DDDs were so OP that he never ever needed to really use Armageddon that much, to use that type of same combo and strategy to win the duel, because he always had a new combo and strategy to win for each specific individual duel, because he was that much of a pro. So Reiji is a pro, but yeah, as an ace monster, I think Armageddon does fail. I kind of like it, but at the same time, it's like you can't even tell it's really his ace until the end. And then at the very end in the duel against Yuya is when you really tell it's his ace, because he evolved all three of them into, you know, an Xyz pendulum, a synchro pendulum, and a fusion pendulum. And then you could tell, okay, yes, this is his ace. But at that point, it was just so late in the show. It wasn't obvious throughout the entire show that that was his ace, because like I said, he just did something different each time. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to put him below these two, because I felt like these two are more iconic to Reiji. I feel like the DDD archetype as a whole was iconic to Reiji, obviously, and there were so many cards from there that were so much more iconic to me, to Reiji, than this card itself. So yeah, he goes below them for now. I think that's definitely fair. I don't think he surpasses Cyber End or Plasma, because I just don't feel like there was that strong connection with Armageddon and Reiji. So yeah, I'll put him there. That's fair. Alright, so we're going to keep moving on. We'll just get over Cyber Dark Dragon. I'll put him right here, I guess. So Cyber Dark Dragon represents Zane's, you know, complete and total, like, turn to the dark side. I mean, he never became evil. He just decided not to care about other people's feelings and whatever, and wanted to win at all costs. But he wasn't evil. He was just selfish and doing his own thing. And this monster represented that. It represented disrespect to the opponent, and, you know, disrespect to the opponent, disrespect to the deck. And so it's like Cyber End is the good half of him, and then Cyber Dark is the dark half of him. And I felt like it was a pretty decent ace monster. Has an interesting effect. It's just that Zane didn't duel so much that, you know, didn't. Not that it didn't play as big of a role, but Cyber End definitely played a much bigger role overall. So yeah, I think that's a fair place. I'll put him right there, right below Plasma, but right above Armageddon, because Armageddon, like I said, it's just doesn't have that close relationship with Reiji as much as I would have liked. But Cyber Dark represents the full, complete psychotic side of Zane. Just abusive and taking control of monsters and absorbing their power and not caring about anything, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. But yeah, so I think that's fair. I think that's fair right there. Let's see. Let's move on. All right, so you know what? Let's do Chaz Princeton. Chaz Princeton, or Manjome Thunder, has 3 ace monsters. Cause his deck was mixed. At one point he used Fiend monsters, but that gets scrapped real quick. He uses the XYZs, the Union monsters, later. Then he uses Ojamas, which is mixed with the Union monsters. He used Armed Dragons. So like his deck was just so random and all over the place. And I know, because I had the deck, and it's hard to use because it's so all over the place. And they don't always work together. But anyway, back to his ace monsters. I would say Armed Dragon level 7 is his ace. In season 1, he kind of like built his own deck, and then he won that deck when he defeated all of North Academy by himself, and he obtained that deck, and then he kept it for himself. So Armed Dragon level 7, interesting. I know you guys are thinking, why is Arm Dragon level 10 not in here? The reason why is because 10 is really more of an extra card, really, because when you think of it, it's supposed to be 3, 5, and 7, and then 10 was added like later on. It's not really part of the main line technically. It's more like, think about it in Pokemon terms, right? You have a Pokemon that evolves 3 times, and then you have the Mega. No, it evolves twice, and then you have the Mega Evolution. So level 10 would be the Mega Evolution. It's an extension, but it's not part of the main evolution line. So it doesn't evolve naturally. So level 7 doesn't evolve into level 10. You need level 10 in your hand to tribute off in order to summon level 7, because level 10 technically wasn't planned for the line. That's why it's not written in the effect. That wasn't planned for that. So yeah, so I would say level 7 is more his ace. Even in season 4, I think in the intro or the outro, one of the two, it shows everyone summoning their aces, and the ace that they showed was Arm Dragon level 7, not Arm Dragon level 10. So there you go. I think in the ending it showed Chaz's deck, and it was level 10 in the front, I think. But whatever, I would put level 7. Wow. Okay. This is hard. I guess below Armageddon. I felt like I feel like it doesn't get to be higher only because, like, once again, Chaz just got relegated to kind of comedy relief. So I feel like level 7 is a pretty decent ace monster. It's just the level monsters are really bad. You know, it's very hard to summon it because you can't just summon it normally or by sacrificing it. You have to level it up all the way, and that could be rather difficult. It's not the easiest thing to bring around. He actually has 2 of these monsters, which is interesting. But yeah, I feel like Arm Dragon level 7 definitely represented his power. I know it's very iconic to him. I mean, they even just recently made a fusion where it's a fusion of Arm Dragon level 7 and V to Z Dragon Catapult Cannon. So clearly those are 2 of his big aces, and they recognize that and they fuse those 2 together. But I just feel like, I don't know, I just don't feel any connection. Like I said, Chaz's deck was just so random and all over the place that it was hard to tell who was his ace and why. So yeah, it was just so difficult because his deck was just random. He did something random all the time. So I think that's fair. He might even go into C tier, to be honest, or maybe the very, very low B tier. I'm gonna put, oh sorry, no, not D tier. I'm gonna put Ojama King C tier too. I might even put that above this because technically Ojama Yellow should be on this list because at the very end of season 4, he did call Ojama Yellow his true ace. Whether he meant it or not, he definitely did mean it, but it was just a funny moment. It was very sweet and nice, but like, it's just funny. But Ojama King is the fusion of the 3 Ojama brothers, which are iconic to Chaz. When you think of signature monsters for Chaz, yeah, you think of the Armed Dragons, but you really think of the Ojamas because the Ojamas are Chaz. Like, he has a relationship with them and everything, and Ojama King is the fusion of all 3 of them, and he usually summons it a lot and does combos with the Ojamas and locking up your opponent's zones and doing the Oja muscle thing, and he even has a transformation for Ojama King and everything. So I felt like Ojama King was definitely more of Chaz's ace. In fact, I might put him up here. Yeah, I'll put him up there. I hope they give Ojama King his own special new evolution, or they make that Mecha Ojama King one that they made and they up the effect and stuff like that. That would be dope. I felt like Ojama King was representative of the Ojamas, and the Ojamas are iconic to him and are his aces, even though they're just weak level 2 non-effect monsters. But I think that's fair. I mean, it's Ojama King, you know, he's the meme, you know, the Ojamas are memes. But yeah, so, and then V to Z, I'm going to put him down here because, yeah, that card is powerful, but it's just so convoluted to summon that thing. It's not easy. And, you know, he did summon it in Season 3 as well against Adrian and random other times. Not that much. He didn't summon it that many times, but It's one of his iconic aces as well, because he changed his deck up so many times. That's what's annoying about him. And then he mixed all three of his different decks together, so it's just a weird mix. But this card is just way too difficult to summon, which is why he doesn't summon it a lot, because he can't really summon it a lot because it's so weird and convoluted to summon. So it deserves to be like that. In fact, I might even put him D tier, because I feel like, one, he's not. He's iconic to Chaz only because it's a combination of all these different Union monsters, but I don't feel like he's that special, and he's just too complicated to summon. I'll put him down here on D. I think that's fair. I don't think he's that important. I think Armed Dragon level 7 is definitely a little bit more important than him, and Ojama King is definitely more important than that. You could even argue that Ojama King might be more above than Armageddon, because, like I said, the Ojamas represent Chaz the most and are very iconic as his aces, and Ojama King is the fusion of those three, and he has so many combos with them, as opposed to Armageddon, who Reiji didn't summon that often, and he didn't really use it to win a lot, unlike Chaz, who used Ojama King to win a lot. So you know what? I'll put Ojama King above Armageddon. I think that's fair, because I feel like he has a closer relationship with the Ojamas, and Ojama King is a fusion of all three of them, as I keep repeating over and over again. But it's just, he has a close relationship with them. He does. He has a very funny, weird, kind of semi-abusive relationship with them, but he loves them, and they love him, and Ojama King is that. But yeah, so, alright, let's move on. We just did Chaz. We're gonna do Sawatari Shingo next. I'm gonna put Sawatari. See, the problem with Sawatari is that he didn't get enough screen time, so we didn't get to see too much of his ace. But when he did summon it, the few times that he dueled, it definitely did steal the show. It was a good effect, and it is a perfect monster to represent him. Abyss Actor Superstar. It's such a cool monster, because it's like, it represents the Abyss Actors entirely represent him as an entertainer, and how he evolved as a person and became an entertainer and everything. And he steals the show. Sawatari steals the show for me. He definitely does. And you know, Superstar represents that as well. So yeah, it could even go above him. I'll put him down here because, like I said, he didn't get played as much. We only got to see him twice, I think, or maybe 3 times since he got it. But I don't know. It could be interchangeable between him and Armageddon, to be honest. I just wish Sawatari had more screen time, and I would have loved to see Abyss Actors being used a lot more. But it is what it is. This is where we're at, you know? Alright, so now we got these boys, the bad boys here. So let's get this card over with. So we got Borolo Dragon. Wow, this is it'll either go above Zane or below Galaxyeyes. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'll put him in A tier for now, because he does represent Revolver a lot. Revolver is another one where he's like Reiji, where he does so many different things, but he did summon Borolo a lot of times, and it was his ace. It was known to be his ace. People feared Borolo Dragon as his ace and saw it as his ace, and it really was his ace. So I just wish they had one final duel as well, but I just don't think Borolo Dragon, as strong as his effect is, has as huge of a role as these two right here. I just don't think so. I think he does stand out as Revolver's ace, and it's pretty cool, but once again, these two have, I feel, stronger significance to their characters and to the show in general, more so than Borolo Dragon. But if you disagree, that's fine. You can put him above, below. It doesn't matter. I think he is A tier. I don't think he's S tier. I definitely don't think he's S tier. I'm sorry. S tier is specifically for those who played a big role in the show and are very close to the main character and have so much story significance in lots of ways, which is why these last guys are right here. So alright, so we're gonna do Shark next. Let's do Shark next. So Shark has 3 ace monsters: Shark Drake, Abyss Splash, and you could either argue Silent Honor Arc Knight or Dark Knight. So the reason why both of these are right here is because technically I consider this card his ace, Dark Knight, because he only summoned this card once and used its effect once, and then he ranked it up into this, and then every other duel after that he used Rank Up Magic the 7th one to instantly go from this to this without even having to really go into this. So that's why I'm saying I feel like Dark Knight is definitely a more iconic ace monster than the original one, because I felt like after the first duel when it was showcased, it was really, this guy was the star of the show. Really, it wasn't really this guy. So which makes sense because design wise and everything, this card makes more sense for Nash. But yeah, so where am I gonna rank these? How am I gonna rank these? This is what I love about Shark, because Shark has 3 ace monsters that represent his 3 different lives. And I'm going to order them based on how important of an impact I feel they were. So I'm going to do Dark Knight, Abyss Splash, and Shark Drake. So they're all S tier because, like I said, Shark is an S tier character. These are all 3 of his signature ace monsters. Dark Knight representing his Baryon life as Nash, Abyss Splash representing his past life as a king, as a human king, and then Shark Drake representing his current life as Shark / Kamashiro Ryoga, where he met Yuya and everything. Where he met Yuma and everything, and represents that side. But I felt like after after season 1, after the first half of Zale, the Shark Drake just got like completely shafted, like he wasn't important anymore. And then Abyss Splash kind of became his ace after that, and then this guy became his ace. But these 2 were both still used, and he even had a chaos. He even ranked Abyss Splash up after that, representing his 2 lives. So it's kind of interesting because it's like he stopped using Shark Drake, which makes sense because he decided to become a Baryon. Well, he was a Baryon already, but he decided to finally choose to become a Baryon, even though, he had to betray his friends and everything. So this represents his old life, which makes sense why he stopped using it. Even in the final duel against Yuma, I figured he would have used it then because he used Black Ray Lancer and stuff like that. But no, he didn't use Shark Drake. But that's because I think Astro had already collected it by that point, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so I think the symbolism with that is cool, is the fact that he no longer uses this card because he let go of his current life and relationships that he had with Yuma and the others, and went into his Baryon past and Baryon present. So that makes sense. So yeah, I think that's fair. I think Dark Knight is just so iconic to Nash, and Shark is a character and represents that tragedy. He has a very powerful effect, very good effect, and so does Abyss Splash, doubling your attack and stuff like that. He has a good relationship as well, because Abyss Splash actually speaks to Nash and actually saved Nash and Mirage from dying and reincarnated them inside of the human bodies. It's a complicated-ish story, but it's very well done. Yeah, they're all S tier because they all represent Shark and they all represent different parts of his life, and I think this is the order that makes the most sense. But you could put either one first; it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna put this guy on the list. I guess if I do, I'll put him as, I don't know. I guess I'll put him C tier. I'll put him C tier. The reason why is because, like I said, he was only used one time. This is the real ace right here. The chaos form is the ace. This is just like an ends to the means. It's not like Hope, where Hope is definitely the ace, and then he has so many different rank ups, but you still feel like Hope is the ace. No, this was just an ends to the means. It was this guy that was the ace, the true boss. And then finally we have Blue Eyes White Dragon as S tier. I could either put him above or below. It really doesn't matter. It's interchangeable. So just like Dark Magician, Blue Eyes White Dragon is one of the most iconic ace monsters. And once again, it just has so much. Whenever you think Blue Eyes, you think of Kaiba. Kaiba is so attached to this card. He has a freaking Blue Eyes White Dragon jet. He has a dueling stadium. a dueling stadium that is shaped like a Blue Eyes head. I mean, he's literally obsessed with Blue Eyes White Dragon ever since he was a kid. He went and hunted all the Blue Eyes in the manga. And this isn't about the manga, but just to make my point even more clear, in the manga, he actually killed people in order to get copies of the Blue Eyes. I mean, he's obsessed. He took the fourth Blue Eyes and ripped it up. We all saw that in episode 1. And then he just has such a close connection with it, and his connections with Blue Eyes and his past life, his ancient Egyptian life and everything. It's just, there's just so much history there, and especially in season 5, where we got the history between Priest Seto and Kasara, being the human version of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and the whole origin story of Blue Eyes and how he became Blue Eyes and everything. I mean, come on, there's just so much history there. Like, we know everything about Blue Eyes, and we know everything about Kaiba, and those two are matched together. I mean, that's his ace, that's his soul, even, it's just everything. It's just everything. I mean, Blue Eyes has everything, just like Dark Magician. I mean, that's the one thing in Duel Monsters that I gotta give it credit for. When it came to creating iconic monsters that felt like characters themselves and were very closely attached to the characters that played them, I felt like they did a phenomenal job, the best job ever. Next to these guys right here, but I still feel like Blue Eyes tops them just because of the simple fact that Blue Eyes just has so much history. Oh my gosh. Nosh represents, like, these three monsters represent Shark, Nosh, and the old Nosh, or whatever, the King Nosh. It represents 3 different parts of his life, which is very unique. But I feel like Blue Eyes just still holds above all of them, for many reasons. I mean, you could even put, Jack up here. It really doesn't matter. Like, this is interchangeable. You could put that there. You could put this here. But I feel like these... No, actually, no. I think these are solid A tiers. Jack, you could argue, could be up here. Because, the whole Signer thing, the Crimson Dragon, his very soul, it's everything about him. It is like as iconic to him as everything else. So you could put him here or you could put him here. It doesn't matter. But I think that's it right there for the list. I think that makes perfect sense. I hope you guys understand my reasonings behind it. I was looking at these rivals, Ace Monsters, and just comparing them to how iconic they were to the character, how important they were to the character that played them, how often they used them, not necessarily how strong they were, because it is what it is, but just more like what those monsters represented to those characters and to the overall show. These S tiers for the Ace Monsters that hold up huge main significance to the main character and represents them in every sense of the word for many different reasons. Like, it's fully, like, the history and lore behind it is just great. So that's why they're S tier. Then you got the A tier, where it's so very closely connected to that character. It's very iconic to them, but it's just not as emotional, I guess, as the top tier, and it's not as fully fleshed upon. Although you could argue, like I said, you could even argue Jack could be S tier, but it is what it is. Hey, go over here. But yeah, so, and then you already know A tier, and then B tiers for like iconic Ace Monsters that do represent them, have pretty decent stories and stuff like that, but just don't play a big role in the show overall, because the character themselves didn't play the hugest role either in the whole show, and this and that. And then C tiers for like didn't really get used a lot, so there's really no point. Well, actually, level 7 got used a lot, but it's just kind of like, it is one of his aces, but the King is better. The King is better for many reasons. And then V to C is just like, it's a cool idea. It's just, you're never going to summon this thing. I don't think I've summoned this thing once in my whole life using Shaz's deck, because it's just that hard, even with the new support. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. That's the list right there. That is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Main Rivals Ace Monsters tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, in the live chat that you guys are watching. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? I know you're going to disagree with my list. Some of you will. And then some of you will agree, and more or less, most people have agreed with the opinions, because I have good reasonings behind them. But some of these can be interchangeable. I think these belong here. Some might even put this below here. Some might put this below here. Whatever. You know, you can mix any of these up. I think this has to stay because there's just too much history. Too much history to get rid of. This, like I said, could go up here because this also has a lot of history. But it could go either way. And yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for watching all the premieres and everything. It's so much fun. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys in the live chat and all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a lot of fun for me. But yeah, see you guys in the next video, guys. Gotcha!